All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, good evening. Okay. Anyway, just start the seminar lah. All right. So before we start everything, right, I'll just like to brief to you how to go through revision. Okay. So instead of just randomly read through the notes or like not flipping the books, okay, the pages, doesn't matter lah. We have a technique here to go through the exercises or the revision. Okay, so when you do revision, right, there are few do and don'ts whenever you go through these kind of things, lah. All right. Why I use green screen? Eh, green screen means what? Am I showing green screen or could you see? I mean, can you guys see my screen now? Beach. Oh, you're using you mean my background, right? It's okay. The background is just background lah. Okay, doesn't matter if the background. As long as you can see my screen now, then it's the most important thing lah. Okay. So anyway, okay, whenever you do revision, right? Okay, the first thing that you have to go through is you must know lah. The first don'ts is you don't go through with textbook. We don't go through textbook. A lot of people that when they do revision, what I've seen is what they just pull out the textbook and they start flipping. Okay, so it doesn't help lah actually because it is actually time wasting because textbook is too wordy already. Okay, so to save time, right? No textbook, then what to go through then? You go through with the notes. Okay, notes is given. Okay, you can request the notes, you could go through with PDF, whatever, just go through with notes and you go through with exercises as well. Okay, so when I say go through with exercises, I didn't ask you to write those exercises. But yes, you go through with objective, you do objective. Okay, for objective, you can circle your answers and you go and double check, okay, with what we have answer provided. But when it comes to exercises, we don't do by your own because there's too much exercises already. Okay, if you do question by question, right, it is actually quite wasting your time. So when I talk about exercises, right, which means I want you to take out your answer and your exercises, you do comparison. For example, now I don't know what question one is talking about. So I go through the answer. Oh, okay, actually the answer is asking for something like this. Okay, I know already. Then question number two. Or question number two, I know what is the answer. Then I can proceed to the next one. Okay, question number three. I'm not sure. I'm not so certain what is the answer. Then I look back into my answer sheet. Okay, so the answer sheet, oh, actually, this is what I'm not remain uncertain. Just like go through the answer, okay, to do double check. So from the answer, you learn how to deal with different questions instead of writing. So this is how you do revision based on the exercises because in different case, okay, the question will always come in different version of questions, okay, which you have to get more exposure on different questions. This is why we give you the exercises, okay, not asking you to do, but asking you to read. Of course, later we'll pull out some important questions to go through together. All right. So the third one is that the third one? Let me think. Uh, yeah, I guess that's all. I guess that's all. Okay, no textbook. You go through with notes, go through with exercises, go through with the objectives. Okay, so this is how you do the revision. Don't waste your time in doing some done stuff lah. Oh yeah, the last one is what? Okay, yeah, we do memorize something. Whenever it comes to revision, right, some of the people they go through with memorizing. Okay, so memorizing is yes, but not 100%. Okay, when you have to memorize something, right? Yeah, you have to memorize name. Sorry. You have to memorize the names. Okay, compulsory. Okay, for example, you have to know what is uh parasitism, okay, prey predator relationship. Okay, so mutualism, you have to know what is the names. Okay, you have to know what is salivary amylase. You have to know what is Benedict solution. You have to know what is them. Okay, so memorize the name, yes. But when it comes to theory, right, we don't memorize theory. For example, why the nutrition can pass through this thing? We don't memorize because it is very simple. It can pass through this thing is because that thing is so small. So it is so small until the nutrition can pass through the wall of fillers. So the theory we don't memorize. We go through with understanding or comprehension. Okay, so there's a do and don'ts in doing revision lah. Don't simply and randomly memorize all the things here. Okay, so later on, I'll go through with you what is the thing important and what is the thing not so important in your short notes. So it helps a lot lah whenever it comes to revision. So I can help you to filter up for something you have to memorize and the other something that you don't need to memorize lah. Okay, so I will further explain your chapter 3 in detail, especially when it comes to the digestive part. Okay, I'll explain in detail. So wait, let me check something first. Uh, okay, let me see whether my student got attend my class or not. Eh, all right. So, chapter one. Okay, you can see when I highlighted something with 3 marks, right? 3 marks, 3 stars, right? 3 stars means it is super super important. Okay, 3 stars means super, super important. So 1 star means you go through. 3 stars, okay, it has the importance of you have to remember the things lah. Okay, if I'm talking about 1 star, right? 1 star means you just understand, you just read through. Okay, make it what is so called a concept in your brain. That's it. No need to memorize anything. Just understand. Okay, three stars means very important. If I didn't give any star, right, means you can read through up to you. Okay, but if you don't write, it doesn't really matter lah. Okay, so the importance of biodiversity, yes, importance of biodiversity is important. Okay, three stars is given, go through. Then the effects of human activities, yes, you have to know what is the effects, what is the things that human done to the biodiversity. You have to know. Okay, you put 3 stars as well. So the endemic species, right? Just have to understand what is endemic species. So endemic species means local species lah. Okay, for example, you have to know like what is it called? The Rafflesia, leatherback turtle, Malayan tiger. Okay, so these are also very endemic species because it can be only found in Malaysia. Local species lah. Okay, so when it comes to the next thing, which is your maintaining and conserving the biodiversity, this one is important as well. So 3 stars is given. You have to memorize this. Okay. So, but the method on doing the conservation, okay, 2 methods you have to know, in situ and ex situ. In situ means we conserve or preserve you, okay, based on your own habitat. Okay, we keep the species, okay, in its own habitat. Ex situ means we move you out of the habitat. Okay, so just get through the concept lah. No need to memorize like in situ and ex situ. So when you go to the classification of animal is important. You have to know what is invertebrate. You have to know what is vertebrate, which is you have to know lah. Invertebrate means it comes without backbone. Okay, vertebrate means they have backbone. So invertebrates, okay, the question was often ask you to do the dichotomous key. Okay, when the question asks you to do dichotomous key, right, you have to spread out something like this. For example, without legs, with legs. So what is the detailed classification? It is what you so called dichotomous key. Okay, so the next one is here. You have to know the group of vertebrate, but what to know? Okay, so we have so many words here. I'm not asking to go through all these words, okay, just because it is all common sense. Just to bear in mind 2 things. One, how they breathe. Okay, how they breathe, you have to know. Okay, so 2, you have to know which kind of blood they are. Okay, blood as in or poikilothermic, cold-blooded or warm-blooded. Okay, poikilothermic means cold-blooded lah. Okay, so like mammals, birds, okay, they are considered as homeothermic, warm-blooded. So you have to know 2 things here lah. Okay, the others I believe is just common sense, which you don't really need to go through. All right. So the next one is here. When it asks you to do classification of plants, it is important as well to know flowering plants and like non-flowering plants. Okay, like flowering plants, you have to know monocotyledon, dicotyledon, all the details here. Okay, their characteristics based on what thing you have to know. Important. Okay, non-flowering plants as well. Just read through. This one just read through. Okay, no need to memorize anything. Just read through. So the last one is the dichotomous key lah. Okay, dichotomous key, right? You just know what is dichotomous key because when the question asks you to do or to construct the dichotomous key, you must have the concept or ability to sketch out, okay, something like this. They ask you to sketch dichotomous key based on different species lah, or based on different like animals, okay? They will ask you to do something like this. So you must know whenever it comes to something like dichotomous keyword, you have to construct something like this out. All right. So the next thing is here. Okay, chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2, you have to know the producer, okay, consumer relationship lah. Okay, what is consumer, what is producer? Just read through. This one is your primary school stuff lah. Okay, just read through. And then when it comes to food chain, actually food chain is super, super important. The question is very, very likely to ask you to construct a food chain or a food web. Okay, mostly is food web lah. Food chain is for your objective. But whenever you have to construct this thing out, right? You have to know what is the relationship between them. Okay, then I highlighted to you something which is highlighted means okay in my short notes I specifically highlighted means what? Means this one is the point that is unique. It has to be highlighted, some extra point that you have to take note. Okay, you have to know source of energy is actually comes from where? Come from the sun. Okay, energy is actually comes from the sun. Sun provide energy to the plant to do photosynthesis. So you have to know something like this. All right. So the next thing is this one okay, the nutrient cycle, carbon cycle, oxygen cycle. You have to know these things. Just read through as well. This is common sense. Okay, who will produce carbon dioxide? Who consume carbon dioxide? Just read through. Okay, so the water cycle as well, read through. And then yeah, this one is worth to be highlighted. You have to know why the leaves fall from the tree. You have to know. Okay, you have to say lah, a leaf fall from the tree because to prevent the soil from becoming dry. Just tell yourself something like this. Okay. Then the next one is this one. Okay, the interference of cycle, okay, caused by human activity, which means what is the thing, what is the activity that human do, okay, to affect the cycle. Okay, like what cycle we are talking about? We are talking about the carbon cycle, the water cycle. So which kind of activity will cause or effect, okay, this kind of cycle? Like the first one is what? Burning of fossil fuel lah. You burn fossil fuel, you create carbon dioxide. You chop down the trees, you create or produce more carbon dioxide. You use a lot of water, you damage or you affect the water cycle. So don't need to go through those short, like those detailed points unless you really, really, really don't understand what is deforestation. Only you go through this sub point. Okay, I'm asking you to memorize all these main point lah. Main point matters. Sub point just read through. Okay, so I just give you one stars here lah. Okay, so talking about steps to solve the disruption, right? These are important. I put 2 stars, which means it is in between important and read through. Okay, because you have to know. Okay, actually they are all common sense, but some of the people, right, in the end they forgot how to deal with this disruption when it comes to natural cycle. You do something good lah. Okay, to preserve or conserve your environment. So this one is quite similar to your chapter 1 actually. Okay, so the interaction as well. This one worth 3 stars. You have to know. Okay, how to classify them? Habitat lah, species, population. You have to know how to classify them. Okay, habitat is the smallest group lah, which means the habitat of a specific organism, their shelter, where they live, that specific habitat for one organism. That is habitat. When it comes to like bigger group, right? Okay, in the end you see ecosystem. Ecosystem consists of what? It consists of different habitat, different population, different organism. So the group is so big, super, super big, it is considered as ecosystem lah. Okay, so this one is important. Then when you talk about adaptation of animal towards the environment, right? Just read through. How does the animal survive in tundra? How the people or how the animal or specific species, okay, they survive in tropical or desert. Okay, you have to know. Just read through. Then the next one is interaction between organism. This one, okay, in this chapter, few things is important. Okay, this is the second one. The first one is your food web. Okay, you must know how to deal with food web. The second one is the interaction between organisms. Super, super, super important. Prey, predator, competition, commensalism, mutualism, parasitism. Okay, all these you have to know. You have to know all of them, including the examples, the examples of animals. Okay, in terms of explanation, you have to know what are the examples here. Okay, then talking about the biological control. Okay, when you go through the biological control, right? This one is important as well, which means why people do something to control the quantity or the population of pests. Okay, we don't use pesticides, we use biological control. Why? What is the pros and cons? what is the advantages and disadvantages. You have to go through. All of them are important. Okay. So when it goes to the factors that affect the size of population, right? This one you just read through. Just read through. Okay, just read through. This one is not so important. Then changes in ecosystem as well. Just read through. Okay, have the concept. No need to memorize. Effect of human activity. This one is actually related to what we have mentioned just now. Okay, you chop down the trees. Forest lodging means deforestation lah. Industrialization, agriculture waste disposal. Okay, go through. No need to memorize lah. It is all common sense. How to preserve the environment. This one is actually very important. You have to do something. Okay, you have to do something to control or to uh protect the environment. Okay, in terms of the explanation, you have to read through, but the steps you have to memorize. This one is important. The question will ask you, how would you do or what you are going to do to protect the environment? You give points from here lah. Okay, so chapter 3. Okay, when it comes to chapter 3, the food classes matters. Food classes matters. I repeat, food classes matters. Okay, which means your objective or your subjective is very, very popular in coming up these kind of questions. Okay, so they ask you about what? They ask you about the type of food classes. Okay, like glucose lah, protein lah, okay, all these kind of things they ask. Okay, then they will ask what is the function or what is the example of food. You have to give them lah. Okay, then as well as your food test. Okay, food test is also in very, very important as well. Okay, in your exam. Okay, you must know this one is compulsory one in your subjective. In your subjective, they confirm ask you about food test. Then your food pyramid, common sense, just read through. Okay, so the factors that influence the calorie requirement, which means what is the reason or what is the factor that cause you to eat a lot or eat less. Okay, body size, age, this one, go through the big point. The details, right? Your common sense will tell you the answer. Okay, calorific value, you must know how to calculate. This one is a compulsory question, either coming out in your first objective or your subjective. Okay, they come out either one. Okay, maybe your subjective, maybe your objective. Okay, somehow even worse lah, they come out in both. So you must know how to calculate this thing. Okay, then human digestive system. Okay, like you have to know what is physical digestion, what is chemical digestion. Okay, you have to know, but not memorize lah, just know. Okay, then when it comes to alimentary canal, you must know what is the alimentary canal, the flow from your mouth to your esophagus, stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine, Indian rectum, and anus. This is what is called alimentary canal. The flow matters. Okay, the flow matters, the function matters as well. But the function here, I'm not referring you to go through here lah. Okay, you have to look at the one I give you later. Okay, so digestion. Okay, digestion. I'm going to show you digestion, how to understand this thing better. Okay, so you have to know in different part, right? What is the thing is going to happen? Okay, which kind of food class is going to be digested in that particular part. You have to know what is the enzyme. Enzyme means digestive fluid. Okay, what is a digestive fluid we are going to use in the specific part. You have to know. Okay, experiment as well. Always put 3 stars, right? Always put 3 stars in your experiment, Okay, very, very popular. This thing is regarding what? Regarding food test. So that's why I gave you 3 stars in the food test just now lah. Okay, so as well as this one, food test as well. So the difference between these two experiments is what? Okay, in this experiment, we are going to test whether your saliva is able to break down your starch or not. Okay, we are going to test whether saliva can break down your starch or not. Okay, so usually saliva is able to break down the starch. So in the end, right, in your A, you cannot found any saliva already. Sorry, you cannot found any starch already. Okay, because there is no starch. The starch is completely digested. When it comes to B, right, B, because you have no starch, because you have no saliva. No saliva means the starch is remain there because nothing to digest the starch. Okay, then the question will ask you, why? Why it has to be 37 degrees Celsius in your water bath. Then you have to mention, lor, okay, it happens because it wants to make it become human body temperature. Okay, this one has to be highlighted. You have to know that saliva only works well under human body temperature. Okay, this one worth highlighted. All right, you have to mention this one in your show notes. Okay, so in the end, you can see lah, in your A, right, there is no starch. Starch has been digested into glucose already. Okay, actually, this part is considered maltose lah, because as what we have learned, saliva will break down glucose. Saliva will break down starch, become maltose, only become glucose. This glucose here is actually refers to maltose lah. Okay, but actually they are very, very close stuff lor. Okay, so for B, right, nothing changed. Okay, you still have the starch remain because there's nothing to digest here. We have no saliva to digest here. All right. So the next one is what? The experiment. Okay, to tell you, this experiment is what? To tell you how to absorb, okay, your food through the whisking tube. This experiment is mainly telling you what? Okay, we are able to digest the food become smaller. So it is able to pass through the whisking tube and go into bloodstream. The point is here. Okay, glucose is smaller than starch. So glucose is able to pass through and go into your bloodstream. The main thing of the experiment is here only. So in the end, right, for your boiling tube P, you can found glucose in the water. But for boiling tube A, there's no starch in the water to prove that glucose is smaller than starch, so it can go into our bloodstream. That's all. Okay, so these are the two important experiments that you have to know lah. Okay, the next one is here. This one worth 3 stars, even though it is not highlighted in your short notes, but this one worth 3 stars. Okay, it is mainly telling you how our small intestine able to absorb the food or nutrition efficiently. You have to know. Okay, few reasons here lah. The big surface area, okay, to absorb more nutrition. Okay, the wall of villus is very thin. Okay, the villus is very thin, one cell thick. So the nutrition is able to pass through the villus and enter the bloodstream. All right. So the function of blood vessel can transport all the nutrients to our body, which means villus, right? The villus, right, contains blood vessel. So whenever your nutrition go into your blood vessel, the blood can carry the nutrition to all over your body. So this is the function of having blood vessel in your villus lah. Okay, so these three is very, 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 very important. Okay, so emphasize to you already. Okay, assimilation no need, because assimilation we basically we do it whenever you go through the nutrition, because you see, okay, in your nutrition, right, already tell you, okay, what is the function of glucose, protein, okay, fatty acid, glycerol, already tell you what is the function here. So we don't need to do double job lah. Assimilation is mainly just telling you that how we are going to use the final product only. No need. Okay, so no need. At last, defecation. Defecation you have to know lah. Okay, we don't say pooping. We don't say shit like these kind of words. We don't say. We say feces. Remember, we say feces. We say defecation. So to stop, to prevent constipation, it matters, because when you cannot do defecation in a normal way, which means you are having constipation. So you have to drink more water, you eat fiber to stimulate the peristalsis. So you have to know as well what is peristalsis. Okay, this one, peristalsis. Where is it? Wait. Oh, okay, the word peristalsis seems never appear in your PM notes. But it's okay. You have to know what is peristalsis. Peristalsis means the contraction and relaxation of your digestive tract, which means your large intestine is going to be like this. Peristalsis. Okay, to push the feces, okay, to move forward lah. So this is the thing you have to know. And then lastly, here. You can see I didn't highlight anything here, okay, but because, okay, the only thing that is not so important are these two. Okay, the way vector transmit diseases. Okay, you have to know how mosquito, how flies they spread diseases. Okay, you have to go through these things only. Just go through. Okay, just go through for these two. Don't need to memorize. The rest all important. The rest all are important. Okay, which means the chapter 4 entire thing. Infectious, non-infectious, important. How does the disease get spread? Important. Okay, the body defense mechanism, very important. Okay, the passive and active immunity, very important as well. The only thing that is not so important in this chapter is your 3 phases of prevention disease. Okay, and then how does the mosquito and fly spread diseases? Only these two are not so important. The rest all important in your chapter 4. All right. So these are the things that you have to know lah. Huh. Okay, in terms of doing revision. Okay. So when it comes to here, okay, for those who don't have this thing, you can take a screenshot here first. Okay, if this is the first day you see me, you can screenshot this thing. Okay, so if you are looking for BM, we have BM as well. How about importance of immunization? Importance of immunization. This one just read through because you know, immunization can help you to fight diseases, prevent you to get diseases. That's all. Common sense can tell you lah. So just read through. All right. So I'll slightly explain this thing lah. Basically, okay. I'll just slightly explain this thing. Okay, so instead of reading through the alimentary canal, right? Okay, somehow the alimentary canal it won't tell you in detail, which means they are not going to classify. You see, the flow is not going to classify to you, okay, in terms of nutrition. So from here, I classify to you in terms of nutrition. So at least you know lah, when the question asks you, or where does this nutrition get digested? You are able to answer. All right. So for example, carbohydrates. Okay. So carbohydrates we have three classification. Okay, starch, cellulose, glycogen. We have this classification. Okay. So when it comes to here, the first phase of the what is it called? Digestion of your starch is happens in your mouth. It happens in your mouth. Okay. So in here, when we have to digest starch, right? We are talking about 2 amylase. Okay, 2 amylase, which is your salivary amylase and your pancreatic amylase, which is come from your mouth and your pancreas. Mouth and pancreas is involved to digest starch into maltose. And then your maltose is not the final form. Maltose has to be digested to glucose in your small intestine, which is the enzyme so-called maltase. Okay, so we are only talking about 3 food classes actually. So don't make it complicated. Okay, starch to maltose to glucose. Okay, know the amylase, know the digestive digestive part. And then when it comes to protein, the only enzyme for protein, unlike starch, okay, the only enzyme for protein is protease. So protease happens, okay, when protein digested to polypeptides. The first phase happens in your stomach. Okay, so after that happens in your pancreas. Pancreas digest, break down the polypeptides into dipeptides. Okay, and then in the end, dipeptides will be digested into amino acid. This is your final form, okay, final form of your protein. Okay, so it happens in your small intestine. For fats, right? Okay, the first phase to digest the fats is what called as liver. Okay, liver secretes bile. Okay, bile is actually used to neutralize. The word is neutralize. You neutralize the acidic chyme. You know, it's chyme. The first phase, the food get digested. It often appears something like porridge one. That porridge stuff digested substance is so-called chyme. It is acidic. Your bile is able to neutralize the acid in your chyme. Then, in the end, as well, your bile will also break down the fats in your food into droplet for further absorption, for easier absorption lah. Okay, so this process called as emulsification. Okay, BM is so-called emulsifikasi lah. Then the droplet will further get digested in your pancreas as well. Okay, and make it become glycerol and fatty acid lah. Okay, that enzyme is also called lipase. So you can see in your pancreas, right? Pancreas has pancreatic juice, which contains three things. One, pancreatic amylase. Two, protease. Three, lipase. This one is for your fats. Sorry. This one is for your starch. This one is for your protein. This one is for your fats. Okay. So pancreatic juice is secreted to your duodenum. You have to know, which is duodenum is the beginning of your small intestine. Okay. So we have only got these three lah. These three what is it called food classes to know how they are being break down in your digestive tract. Okay. So try to go through with this thing without memorizing. Just try to. If you cannot, then you just memorize lah. Okay. So yeah, one more thing is your food test. You have to know. Okay, food test. What is the changes happens when food test comes? Okay. So iodine, okay, is going to change your brown color to blue color lah. Benedict's test is going to change blue color to brick red precipitate. Okay. Milon's reagent will form red coagulation. Milon's reagent is originally transparent. Okay, you can say from transparent become red coagulation form. Okay, alcohol emulsion test. Okay, emulsion test you can use filter paper as it is going to show you the translucent spot lah. So the question will ask you, what kind of food is this? Based on the food test or like some sort of similar question lah. Okay, so we'll go through together. Okay, with the food class stuff. Okay, in your exercise because right in your exercises I won't really focus on chapter 1 and chapter 2 since chapter 1 and chapter 2 is mainly simple. I mean, a way more simple I would say. A way more simple compared to your chapter 3 and chapter 4. So I'll focus more on chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter 1 and 2 up to you because this is your like your notes effort lah because notes giving you all the answers already. Okay, so we go through with your chapter 3 and chapter 4 first. If we have extra time, then we go back to your chapter 1 and 2. Wait, Okay, so you go to your page 21. Page 21. Okay, so the first thing you have to know is I once mentioned when it comes to vitamin, right? You must know vitamin has like few classes A, B, C, D, E, K. Okay, 6 classes. So among them, vitamin A, D, E, K, vitamin A. These 4 vitamins, they are fat soluble, which means they are able to dissolve in fat. So these 4 is actually considered as fat soluble vitamins. The rest 2, vitamin B and C is considered as water soluble. Okay, so B, when the question asks you to give the effects of deficiency, okay, whenever you are lacking of calcium, you drink milk, right? Common sense is telling you, you drink milk because of what? Strengthening your bones, so if you drink calcium, if you have calcium, you can avoid osteoporosis. Osteoporosis refers to what? Your bone, inside your bone is full of holes, which means your bone is very, very fragile. Okay, this disease is so-called osteoporosis because of lack intake of calcium. Okay, so talking about iron, right? If you lack of iron, you are going to face anemia because iron mainly help you to make red blood cell. Okay, iodine. Iodine comes from seafood. It controls the function of your thyroid. Okay, thyroid is mainly help us to do the metabolism stuff. So if you lack of iodine, you're going to cause you to get goiter. Goiter means your thyroid has a big swollen lah. Okay, a big swollen tumor appears on your thyroid there. Okay, so question number 2, minerals to their respective functions. Okay, so like same lah. This one appears in your section B. Okay, calcium. calcium, teeth and bone lah. Iron form hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the most important thing in your red blood cell. So which means you want to form hemoglobin, only you can form red blood cell. Iodine, okay, prevention of goiter. Potassium, okay, control the function of nerve. Okay, potassium, when the question asks you, okay, the question asks you what is the source of potassium, you can tell banana. Okay, I once tell my student, if you want to get a better performance in your exercise, right, you eat banana. Okay, because banana can prevent you to have muscle cramp. Okay, so yeah, okay, the enzyme we have to go through as well. Enzyme is protease. So this is what I showed just now. Okay, I showed it to you just now. Protein, in the end, you get digested into amino acid, BM acid amino lah. So very similar. I just write in English lah. Okay, amylase digest starch, kanji, okay, into glucose. Fats is using what enzyme? You can say lipase. Okay, you cannot say bile lah. Bile is not the enzyme. The enzyme is lipase. Lipase will digest your fat droplets into fatty acid and glycerol. Alright, so BM also as well lah. Okay, acid lemak dan glycerol also same thing. Okay, so question number 4. I mean, all these things here is actually a so-called your section B stuff lah. Okay, so we don't do section B. We go to here. Okay, you look at your question 6. Okay, question 6. One category, one category is rich in iodine and one category is rich in iron. Okay, so the magazine tells something like this lah. Okay, the question is here. Okay, you have to tell which one helps you to make sure your thyroid function well, which one helps you to build your hemoglobin. So as we said, iron helps you to build hemoglobin. Then the one helps you to function your thyroid is actually iodine lah. Okay, so when the question say, the magazine also say talk about the effect of vitamin K deficiency. So what is the importance of vitamin K? That's why actually in food class you cannot skip not one of them. You cannot skip any one of them, which means all the vitamins, all the minerals like potassium, sodium, calcium, what is it called? Iron. Okay, so all these, right? You have to go through. You must memorize their function. Okay, so you cannot skip any one of them. Okay, as well as the vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K. You have to do all of them. Okay, so including the fiber, the water, the carbohydrates, the protein, fats, okay, all these things have to go into your mind because the question will ask you. Okay, not just in subjective. They often ask you in the objective as well. Very, very often. Okay, so the importance of vitamin K is what? Mainly help you to what? Here, whenever it comes to a sentence, okay, sentence lah. So the question asks to construct a sentence, you make it a sentence. You don't make it a point, because whenever you give it a point, right, somehow when the marker, right, is stupid, he cannot interpret your point one. Okay, when he cannot interpret your point, he don't give you mark. Then you cannot argue because your sentence is not it's not complete. Okay, when your sentence is not complete, right, you cannot argue for marks one. So you have to make sure you give a complete answer, complete sentence to shut the markers up, to make sure the markers has no any excuses to deduct your marks. So what is the importance of vitamin K? Okay, you can say it helps to do blood clotting. Okay, you cannot just simply say blood clotting, full stop. You cannot score the mark in this way lah. It helps to do blood clotting. Okay, this is the importance. So, BM ia membantu pembekuan darah. So the way to answer is here. Okay, so 3, the question says, the nutrition fact is shown lah. Okay, so she asks you, to calculate the total amount of energy in this packet of the snack. Actually, answers is already given. amount per serving calories is 380. So what you have to do is just write it down, calorie. That's all. Okay, that's all. No need to you know do this thing, do that. Even the question asks you to do calculation, but actually answer is already given. Just copy and paste. Okay, then okay, yeah, B. Okay, this is a kind of experiment question that very often to come out in your exam. So to test the presence of starch and glucose after 20 minutes. So you have to know, You have to know, you have to imply by your own. Tell yourself that, hey, glucose is actually smaller than starch. So glucose, what? If it's 2 mark question for the calculation, if it is 2 marks question for the calculation, right, you have to make it a calculation. You have to give out the calculation. You have to construct the workings. You have to show the workings to get the marks. But this one, I think it's not 2 marks, just 1 mark question. Mark is not shown here. So okay, you have to imply by your own. This one, tell yourself, hey, glucose is smaller than starch. So glucose is able to diffuse out into the water. So in the end, your experiment, right? The water contains glucose but not starch. Okay, the starch, because the particle is too big already, instead remain in the whisking cube. So, okay, the question asks you to see, hey, what is the presence of, do you have any presence of substance in the experiment in the end? Okay, so when it comes to type of substance, starch. Okay, so starch, in the end, no. Starch is not found in the water. But for glucose, yes. Because glucose is able to diffuse out. Okay, read the question. If the question say yes or no, you just say yes or no. If the question wants you to write a complete sentence, you just write a complete sentence. Okay, we follow the instruction of questions. So we have a very new word here. Okay, term called as inference. Inference in Chinese, not Chinese, in English called reason, which means the question asks you to give reason. So when you say, hey, give an inference of the presence of glucose, hey, why would you say, there is a yes for the presence of glucose? Give a reason. We have to say, because, not only because, I guess, just directly write the answer without because. You can say, glucose is smaller, okay, than starch. Okay, smaller particle or smaller molecule than starch. So it is able to diffuse out. Making the complete sentence again. So glucose is is smaller than particle than starch. So it is able to diffuse out of the whisking cube. Okay, so same as well in English, in BM, glucosa adalah lebih kecil zarah berbanding kanji. Okay, oleh itu ia dapat meresap dari tube whiskey. So again, you make it a complete sentence. Don't be like, I randomly write then you don't score the marks lor. Okay, so this is how you deal with the inference stuff lah. Okay, and then this is the Vilus. Okay, you can pronounce this thing as a Villi or Vilus, up to you lah. It doesn't matter. Okay, just to make sure that you know this thing, know the name Villi or Vilus. Okay, then it says, okay, structure H, the wall of small intestine. What? Teacher not done. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So question C, you can see this is a VLI, VLAS, whatever, it doesn't matter. They ask you what is the structure H. So you can write out either VLI or VLAS is acceptable. Just the difference is singular or plural lah. Okay, they didn't catch you this thing. So either one is good. Just write out. Okay, BM is just one L lah, VLAS. Okay, the question says, this one, I just highlighted you, right? It's very, very important. It says what? Relate one characteristics of structure H with its role in absorption of digested fruit, which means you have to say, what is the characteristics here which allows it to absorb the digested food? You cannot just mention the characteristics. This question should be 2 marks one. If you didn't mention the characteristics, right, just score 1 mark. Okay, you have to make it a complete sentence which explaining the role in here. So you have to say, for example, I'm using in English, I'm using like it is just one cell tick. Okay, here you can answer smart way. Okay, for example, answer in a smart way. I forgot the word villas already. I forgot the word villa already. Can I still answer this question? Yes. Okay, I don't pronounce this thing, I don't name this thing, I just use like the word question given. Structure H. Acceptable, Okay, structure H has not has okay, has wall that is one cell thick. Okay, it has a wall that's one cell thick. This is the characteristics. Then you explain lah. It allow the digested food go into bloodstream easily. Okay, so structure H mempunyai dinding yang setebal satu sel. Ia memberi makanan yang dicerna masuk ke salur darah secara senang. Okay, so teacher, can I write wait teacher, can I write get absorbed easily? So if you just write get absorbed easily without the one cell tick stuff, right? Okay, you didn't score the mark lor. So if you like structure H has a wall that is one cell thick, okay, it allows the digested food get absorbed easily. Can. Okay, like for here, if you got write this thing right, then you continue. You say it allows the digested food to get absorbed easily. Also can. But you have to mention the characteristics. We have few characteristics here. You can say large surface area. You can say very, very one cell thick. You can say a lot of things here. All right. I need you guys to spare me 1 minute. I'm going to wash my nose because I'm having running nose. I can't speak properly actually. Wait, 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. All right. So this one is you see this one I mentioned, right? You have to know what is a factor that affecting your balanced diet. Okay, so this question is quite simple lah. Okay, so you can say lor, if he do like heavy job, okay, so he'll need to eat more. He'll need more energy in his life. Okay, so you have to just mention something like this. Just quite simple lah. Okay, but we go through because this question we have calorific calculation. Okay, so we go through together. So you see, explain how a person's job influences the daily energy requirement of the person. So you have to say, lor, uh, the more active or the more heavy, lah. Okay, the adjective up to you, huh? The person's job, okay, the more energy requirement of the person. Okay, so you see, what I'm just copying the words from the questions. Okay, very simple because actually they copy the words in the sentence is correct one. Okay, it has no matter, nothing to deal. I mean, it's definitely no problem, right? Just copy the questions, okay? But you give answers as well. Okay, so to avoid like further mistakes, question is always correct one. So if you really don't know how to express something like somehow in certain circumstances you don't know how to explain, right? You can actually refer to the question. The question will show you the hint, or you answer in this way, answer this way. Okay. BM as well, you can use semakin semakin. Okay, semakin berat atau semakin aktif, okay, pekerjaan seseorang, semakin banyak, okay, tenaga yang diperlukan pada orang itu. Okay, so just mention in this way. So BM at the right lah, quite simple language. So B, okay, two other factors that affecting the daily energy requirement. So beside a job, right, what is going to affect daily energy requirement? So one, uh, gender and age. Okay, gender and age as well. So BM is Jantina, then umur. Okay, these are the factor as well. Climate, yeah, climate is one of the answers as well. So if the question asks you to give explanation, just explain. But you look at the question. The question didn't ask you to give any explanation. Just state. So the question asks you to state, right? You state. You don't explain. If the question asks you to state something, then you explain the reason. You do further explanation to score the mark. Okay, so when it comes to C, okay, the question give you like food samples and ask you to calculate something, right? Okay, so I show the calculation bottom because like this one is this one is not language stuff lah. Okay, yeah. So I just present in one slide is okay already. So it says what? The women take 10 gram of food sample one. Okay, so food sample one, 100 times 10 gram. Okay, so 20 gram of food sample 2. Okay, if you want to make sure you correct, right, just bracket it lah. You bracket it, then you won't get confused. Okay, so 2 gram of sample 3, then 30 gram of your sample 4. Okay, then you calculate all of them, you sum them together. Hey, sorry, this one is not multiply. This one is sum. Okay, you sum up all of them together, you get your answer. But make sure the answer, question already given a kilojoule per gram. So in the end, your answer has to be in kilojoule. Okay, the SI unit here, we always refers to the SI unit question given lah. You just sum up all of them, then you score the mark already. So very simple, 10 gram. Because the question says kilojoule per gram, you are taking 100 gram of food sample 1. So, sorry, what 10 gram of food sample 1. So 10 gram times 100, you get your answer for food sample 1. So you repeat the same thing for the food sample 2, 3, 4. You sum up all of them together, you get your answer. Okay, so 2, based on the value of daily energy requirement calculated, estimate the daily energy requirement of a labor okay, and an old man. So, for example, because I don't know what is the answer here, I didn't calculate, it's okay. So, it's just telling you that a pregnant woman, okay, so this is a pregnant woman. So, what you have to know is pregnant women must need to eat more than the old man. So if when it comes to the daily energy requirement for an old man, right, the calorie, the energy you mentioned, the value, it has to be lesser than the pregnant women. Okay. Then when it comes to the laborer, because of gender and working nature, okay, so it has to be eat more than the pregnant women. Okay, you cannot argue, why the pregnant woman inside got a baby, she has to eat more, right? Yeah, in fact, yes, but you have to know gender matters as well, right? The working nature as well. Okay, you cannot say pregnant women they are working, but laborer they are working all the day. They must consume more energy, so they need to eat more lah. This is how you're going to explain it here. You just explain because of old man, the age issue. Okay, so he has to eat lesser. Laborer, because of working nature and gender, so he has to eat more than the pregnant women. Because the question is asking refers to the pregnant women. Okay, so quite simple lah. Just go through with the stuff here. And then this one, right? Which menu you are going to take it. Okay. Speedy recovery. The cue is here. Read the question. Always read the question. Speedy recovery. Which kind of food you're going to take? Okay. Scrambled egg, boiled egg doesn't matter. Okay. Banana and honeydew. Okay. Doesn't matter. Cup of tea. Low fat milk. Okay. Seems okay. But you see the cue is here. Fried noodle and cereal. Okay. So you want to get the speedy recovery, right? We have to eat healthy lah. Okay. Q lah. Okay, so this one is better. Just explain when the question asks you to give explain. You see how to allocate the mark. The first question is which kind of menu is more suitable? This one is 1 mark. Your explanation stands for 2 mark. You can say for 1 mark, the first mark you can say is what? Both of them has protein, okay, has fiber. You can mention something like this. Okay, so but the third point you must say, but menu P is not healthy as it contains fried noodles. But menu Q is more healthier compared to menu P as it has cereal. Okay, or else you can say, menu Q has cereal, menu P has fried noodles, which cereal can help him to get a better digestion. Okay, sure. Okay, so we have a lot way to answer, but make sure, just to tell you that make sure even we have a lot of ways to answer, but you have to give the point fit into these 2 marks. Okay, if your points entire sentence only got 1 point, so you only get 1 mark. The other mark you lost it. But at least you must answer which menu is suitable. If you didn't answer this thing right, no matter what you explain, you get no marks one. So always remember yourself to read the questions. Okay, so question number 8 as well. Okay, question number 8. Deficiency of vitamin B. So you see, just now we went through deficiency of vitamin K. Now vitamin B. Vitamin B is about what? Hemoglobin, the red blood cell stuff. So 2 diseases that are related is what? Anemia and beriberi. Lacking of vitamin B will cause you to have 2 things. Okay, B, the question asks you, protein is required to repair damaged tissue, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the question says, give 2 examples of food that is rich in protein. Simple. Any meat law. Meat contains protein Okay, beside meat, what you can say? Milk eggs Okay, all these are the food that you can eat as they are so rich in protein Huh. 2. State 2 diseases in children caused by protein deficiency over a long period. So this one you mentioned before in the notes, but it doesn't appear in your short notes, unfortunately. Okay, just to recap you, which this one is actually very important. Very famous in the question, called as kwashiorkor. BM as well, same spelling as kwashiorkor means the baby or the children, the kids. Okay, they are going to appear with a big tummy, but their hands and their leg is very skinny. Because they lack of protein. Okay, the other possibility is what? Stunted growth . Okay, so in BM, you can answer in this way. Kwashiorkor as well. The other word stunted growth means uh kerencatan, not kerencatan. Okay, I just use this word masalah. Masalah pertumbuhan. Okay, you can just mention it stunted growth because we say what protein, you eat more to make new cells, ma. So whenever you grow, right, you must need protein. So this is the kind of thing that you are going to face off whenever you have protein deficiency. Okay, next one. Showing you a poster. Okay, vitamin A, B, D contains calcium, fiber, AHA, DHA. Doesn't matter. The point is here. Based on the diagram, what is the importance of a milk to avoid constipation? When we talk about constipation, right, fiber has to be mentioned. Calcium is for bone. AHA, DHA is your brain cell. A, B, D doesn't matter to what about constipation stuff. So 3 marks. How would you explain this thing? First, you have to say, okay, milk contains fiber. Must mention, okay, because you have to say what is a thing important in the milk so you can help avoid constipation. So milk contains fiber. This is your first mark. So you can say fiber, okay, uh, can help to stimulate peristalsis. The word is here, peristalsis in small intestine. Of course, sorry, pui, not small intestine, large intestine. Of course, we are talking about large intestine. If you know about small intestine, then GG already. Okay, then the next point is what? Fiber can help to stimulate peristalsis in large intestine. Then after that, what? You can say, lor, okay, feces will be pushed forward to avoid constipation. That's all. So milk contains fiber lah. Fiber can help to stimulate peristalsis lor. Then you can further elaborate lah. Feces will push forward, okay, then to avoid constipation. So 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark. So you can see, I always have a habit one. Okay, the habit is what? I'm going to classify my points based on sentence. So one sentence, 1 point. So I can do lah whenever I double check my answers, right? Okay, I can check back or whether my points is sufficient or correct or not. Won't be like so confusing. Can I say fiber prevent constipation? Uh, Fiber prevent constipation. Actually, it is correct lah. Okay, fiber prevent constipation, but you have to think of how you can further elaborate the third point. Because fiber prevent constipation, this one is only got 1 point only, 1 mark lah. So milk contain fiber, 1 mark. So fiber prevent constipation, 1 mark. What about the third mark? You have to slightly mention about this thing lah. So BM as well. Can say susu mengandungi fiber. Okay, ia dapat merangsang. Merangsang means stimulate lah. Peristalsis dalam usus besar. Okay, najis in BM, najis is so-called feces, akan ditolak depan dan mengelakkan sembelit. So sembelit means constipation lah. You can avoid these kind of things whenever it comes to here. All right. Then, yeah, same goes to here. The question says what? Okay, give opinions to the doctor's advice. Doctor advised him to drink more water. Okay, so you have to advise it based on what? The first point, you just say, drink water can soften the feces. Okay, minum air. Air dapat melembutkan najis. So, you can say, the feces is then easier to get pushed forward and discharged out through the anus. Okay, najis dapat dilembutkan oleh itu ia lebih senang ditolak, okay, dan dikeluarkan dari badan orang tersebut, whatever. Okay, dari badan also can. So just mention it this way. Huh. So which kind of food, okay, Mr. Alexis he has to eat to overcome the problem? Okay, food that is rich in fiber, vegetables lah, fruits lah. Okay, you can say high fiber bread also can. It also helps to like relieve this issue lah. Okay, so the end thing is your food test. Okay, food test. You can see food test based on the result. What is the class of food you can know? See first thing first, iodine. Iodine is for starch. Kanji. Benedict is for glucose. Okay, Milon's reagent is for protein. Okay, this one is for fats. Then, teacher can repeat. Which one? Which one? Uh, this one. I. Oh, this one. Okay, so I just write lah. Okay, I write in short form. Soften the feces. So in BM called as melembutkan najis. So you drink water mah, correct not? So the second point, what you write? You write lor, okay? Easier to get discharged lah. Okay? Lebih senang untuk dikeluarkan dari tubuh. If you don't know the word anus, right, you can just like discharge out of the body also can. Can I use excreted? Can. Easier to excrete out of body. Also can. Uh, sure. You see, this is a thing. Very, very smart. Okay. Whenever you cannot remember one word, right? Discharge is so it's not so familiar. Okay, then you can say excreted. Okay, sure. The way to the way to express doesn't matter. The meaning matters. Okay, can Okay, so your food test is here. The observation is here. What you can see? Starch remains. Okay, remains in its own color. So no change lah. There's no starch. Okay, Benedict originally is blue color. Then there's no glucose. Protein, transparent. We used to say just now, Milon's reagent is transparent. Then in the end, once Milon's reagent in the end turns to brick red precipitate or something like red coagulation happens, then this is what is called, yes, we have protein. Okay, so fats, yes, you have fats because there's a translucent spot here. Okay, so based on the result here, what are the classes of food found in the sample Q? So food class, okay, food class we say what? Protein, because it's not protein, yes, fats as well. Okay, protein dan lemak. So they ask you another question. If now the food Q is a potato, potato, then what is the change of the test result? So potato, first thing first, potato has no protein. Potato has no fats. So what you're going to change is what? Potato, even it doesn't contain glucose. Okay, potato contains starch. So you can say the change here is, okay, the iodine is going to change from brown to blue, dark blue. Okay, BM, biru tua. Okay, when it goes to, okay, because iodine is not enough. If you just talk about iodine, it's not enough. Because why? We still have the changes. The changes is not just iodine. Okay, your changes is original with red precipitate, but now you are changing it to potato. So there's no any precipitate anymore. So you have to mention the what is it called? Melons. Okay, remain transparent. Okay, remain transparent, or in BM you can say tiada warna. menjadi tiada warna also can. Okay, so filter paper no change lah. There is no any translucent spot or whatever on the filter paper. So you see, these are the changes compared to the food sample Q. Okay, in here. So you have to just give it all the complete answer lah. Just don't just be like 1 or 2 points given, then you jump already. Okay, it doesn't help a lot lah. Huh. Okay, so three, based on the result in D1, this food can be eaten in large quantity. D2, sorry. D2, D2. Oh, D2 is potato. Okay, so they ask you, D2, can you eat a lot in large quantity? Okay, explain your answer. Yes lah. Okay, if you're talking about D2, right? Okay, potato. You can eat a lot. Yes. Okay, 1 mark. Why? Okay, so you can say, lor, it is so rich in starch. PM kanji, it is so rich in starch, so eat more can give you more energy. Huh. Okay, so quite simple to answer lah. Just answer based on its own function. Yes, we can eat a lot because a lot of starch, then more energy. All right. So forgive me, some of the I didn't write in both languages, or I didn't write in the detailed sentence because time is running. Okay, I would rather like explain more question to you lah compared to like writing those words. Okay, verbally explain to you. Okay, so this question yeah, as well. Okay, question 9 as well. We have to go through. Okay, question 9, digestive system. So you have to know lah. Okay, just mentioned, right? All the parts here, they are so important. So this one, P is your duodenum, lor. Then R is your pancreas lah. So it comes to the bottom part, right? Okay. After you do all the labelings, do the questions. The question say the patient do surgery to remove the pancreas because of tumor. So which means because of what doesn't matter. The point is just what the pancreas has to be removed. Then how? Okay, so I have to say really what happened. So first thing first, what you have to know, pancreas you secrete three things. Pancreatic amylase for starch. So you are going to have what is it called? Issue. You're going to have issue on two things. One, digesting a fats. Digesting proteins. Okay, because you have proteins and you have lipase in your what is it called, pancreatic amylase. So because of lacking of pancreas, right? Okay, so your pancreatic juice contains these two things. So you cannot digest fat and cannot digest protein properly. Can write unable to digest fat. Can, but this one only just 1 mark lah. You have to say one more. Unable to digest protein. Okay, you can also actually mention difficult in digesting protein plus starch. Okay, even though starch, we have two things used to digest. We have one called salivary amylase, which is your saliva. Okay, another one is your pancreatic juice inside pancreatic amylase lah. Okay, but lacking one of the amylase, right, will also affect you to digest the starch. So you can just mention you have issue on digesting these three food classes lah. Okay, so dia akan mempunyai masalah dalam mencerna lemak, mencerna protein, mencerna kanji. Okay, all these things you can mention in here. All right. So the next one is what? Yeah, this one, another experiment. Just I went through, right? The food is so small, it is able to pass through the whisking tube. But talking about this, if we mention all answer in a sentence, also can. Okay, answer in one sentence, if like I put all these things in one sentence, okay, in one sentence, doesn't matter because 3 points is included in that particular sentence, right? Not? So you still get 3 marks. Okay, I'm asking you to separate it in 3 sentences because it is easier for you to recognize. It's like, oh, okay, I finished one sentence already. I can score 1 mark. I finish another sentence with point, can score another mark. So if you just random write sentences that is pointless, marks is still not given. You have to get this thing. Some of people say, hey, I write 3 sentences, why only give you 1 mark? Because the rest 2 sentences is out of the point or without any proper point. Then how to give you mark? Fair enough. So, okay, this one, the action of saliva on starch. So you see, we say starch is able to get digested by saliva. So, okay, you have to know the one starch with saliva, in the end, saliva will break down the starch, okay, into maltose. So after that, your N has no starch already. But M, because of you have just added with distilled water, there's no starch presence there. So in the end, you still remain starch. So the question asks you, do you have any starch in the end of the experiment? So for M, yes, because there's nothing to digest, Fair enough. So, but for N, no, because in your N we have saliva. Saliva can break down your starch. Okay, so in the end, there's no starch remains in your test tube N already. Again, the question is asking you to give inference. So inference, reason. Why would you say in the end there's no starch in N already? Because you can say saliva contains salivary amylase. Mention the amylase stuff, okay, that can digest starch. Okay, if you don't want to use the word digest, I give you a word to spell called breakdown. Okay, salivary amylase that can break down the starch. You can also mention this way Okay, so saliva in the end called what? Saliva. Oh, didn't mention. I liu lah. Dapat not dapat, sorry, mempunyai first. Okay, amylase saliva dan dapat mencerna kanji. So this is how you do with question. You don't simply stop here, saliva contains salivary amylase. You stop here. You lose the mark. Because not complete mark. So you can say it can digest the starch or you can break down the starch. Okay, memecahkan kanji also can. Okay, so why must the temperature of the water bath be maintained at 37? Because, okay, 37 is human body temperature, which allows the enzyme to work lah. Okay, so 37 is human body temperature, suhu badan manusia. You mention this thing first. Then you can say it allows enzyme to function well. So in BM, ia memberi enzim bekerja biasa, bekerja dengan cekap also can. Okay, just mention the body temperature and then it allows the enzyme to function well. Okay, so terbalik lor, if your body temperature doesn't remain in 37, okay, maybe 38, 35, the enzyme is not working, your result will be different. Okay, so 4, in which part of the alimentary canal? Alimentary canal means the path that the food passes through. Okay, the path that the food passes through, which part has the reaction which is same as occur in test tube N. Test tube N, you have saliva to break down starch. Which part has the same function which can break down starch as well? Pancreas lah. So pancreas is able to break down starch as well because pancreas, it has pancreatic amylase mah. So the factor is here lah. All right, we skip, repeating question, repeating. Yeah, repeating. Okay, we try to go through this question. This question is quite valuable. Question number 12. So you see, refers to the structure here. Okay, the wall of Villus. Okay, small intestine. So this is what? Okay, the name Villus. Okay, villus. The question asks you somehow, just to let you know, this one is what is so-called lacteal. BM lactose. It is used to absorb fats, which is the one fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, fatty acid and glycerol will enter the lacteal and then go into your bloodstream. Go to a lymphatic system first. Okay, just to know that, just to let you know that this is lacteal. Okay, it is used to absorb fatty acid. So explain the feature to carry out its function. What is the feature? You can say one cell thick lah. Okay, just how we have wrote we wrote the one cell thick already, right? So we don't write this thing again lah. We say uh large surface area. Correct or not? Okay, you just write large surface area lah. Okay, so uh luas permukaan yang besar. Okay, just write this way. So how does the function improve its efficiency to absorb digested food? So you can say, okay, with the large surface area, okay, it is able to help us to absorb more nutrition into our body. That's all. Okay, large surface area allows us to absorb more nutrition in our body. But you see, this is one point. What about the second point? You can say large surface area refer to here lah. Okay, the second point you can say one cell thick. Okay, one cell thick allow the food easily enters the bloodstream. Okay, or else three you can say full of blood capillary. Okay, it is full of blood capillary. The nutrition can be carried to all of the body part lah. Okay, also can The answer is just very easy. We have 3 points to write, Setebal satu sel. Okay, so banyak kapilari darah. So that's what I just mentioned, right? This part is very, 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 very important. So you see, inside the seminar questions, right, we extracted because this question is very often to ask in your exam. Okay, so in the beginning of the activity, see, this is what we said. Okay, starch is bigger than glucose. Already mentioned to you, the bigger one is starch, the smaller one is glucose. So in the end of the activity, they ask you to sketch out what will happen. Okay, so you have to sketch out, describe your drawings. So your sketching stands for 1 mark, your description is another mark. Okay, so description is not going to going to ask you to give reason. No, they just ask you to mention what happened. Okay, so you just say lah, or inside here the bigger one stay remains, out here the smaller one diffuse. Okay, so you have to complete a diagram, then you describe a drawing. So you say the smaller glucose molecule diffuse out of the whisking tube. Okay, that's all. No need to mention a lot of words here lah. Okay, so glucose yang lebih kecil akan keyword in BM akan meresap. Okay, diffuse means pass through, pass through. So the smaller glucose molecule yang lebih kecil dalam glukosa akan meresap keluar, okay, meresap luar dari tube whisking. So just mention something in this way lah. Okay, so describe how you can prove the position of molecule after 30 minutes. So you can say, you can prove that the glucose is legit here, right? What I'm going to do, I can use Benedict test. Okay, so you can say, color, not color, it appears with red precipitate to show glucose presence. Okay, sorry, presence. Okay, so you can say Hujan Benedict lah. Okay, so ia akan menunjukkan mendakan merah bata. Okay, untuk membuktikan kehadiran glukosa. Yeah, that's it. What is precipitate? Precipitate means something sink in the bottom, which means you can see red color stuff lah, sinking in the bottom one. Like a few pieces of red color stuff sinking in the bottom of the solution. This is red precipitate. So if you look at the Milon's reagent, right, it means like red coagulation. Coagulation means you have a thing bigger, okay, float in the water. That is called coagulation. All right. So as well as this chapter 4, okay, you try to go through with some of the questions here lah. Okay, I mean not want you guys to go through, you just read through the questions because like, you know, they ask you what is the bacteria, the name of the bacteria. Okay, name of bacteria, right? You just read through. No need to memorize the name of bacteria because you have to know name of bacteria, it is just going to use it in your section C, which means in your subjective lah. In objective, right, it often appears something like this one. Because some of people they ask, teacher, should I memorize the name of bacteria? Okay, to be honest, no need. Why? Because in objective, when you see the word Plasmodium malaria, you know actually this thing comes from malaria disease, correct or not? Okay, so Vibrio cholera bacteria, cholera lah. Okay, so in objective, when you see this kind of questions, right, actually it's 3 marks. But in subjective, I don't want you guys to memorize the name of pathogen because the name is very, very complicated. Salmonella type bacteria. How could you memorize this name? Okay, you save some brain memory. If in your subjective it comes out right, just give it 1 mark only. 1 mark, just give it. Okay, because objective free to you. So you save some effort to memorize all the things comes from here. You spend effort here. Okay, you spend effort on the vitamin stuff, because that one is much more useful, okay, in your exam. Either objective or your subjective. Okay, both of them are useful in terms of the
想不到我们在这种状况下见面。
回家。
哦，回家，拜拜。
OK。
All right, hi. Anyway, it's okay. I think there's some technical issue happened just now. Okay, it's okay. So the one I wish to deliver to all of you is just here. All right. So if you have any revision stuff, right? Okay, like you don't know how to do revision, what to do revision. Okay, so you want to do some inquiry on this thing. You can feel free to approach me lah. Okay, so my contact number is given here, so you can just approach me whenever you have any question lah. Okay, so if you have no question, right, we call it a day here lah. So thank you for attending the seminar. Hopefully you are doing good in your revision lah. See you again. Bye bye.